This is Bluetti's AC200P portable power station. 2,000 watts of raw power that you can use to run anything in your kitchen, probably most things in your house, and everything in your campsite. And when it showed up on my front porch, I was really excited. But the first thing I had to do was get my granddaughter to come help me carry it inside, because it weighs 60 pounds and it came in a much larger, cushioned box that I couldn't quite get my arms around to lift this thing up and carry it in. The first thing I did when I got this inside was throw the charger on it, bring it up to 100%, and then hook it up to my household refrigerator, because I was really interested to see how long this would power that dual door, ice maker, everything, big Whirlpool refrigerator. And it's not a modern one, it's a power hog, but I wanted to see just how long this would run it. Because for me, this is as much about home emergency power supply as it is about something that you can take camping or put in your RV. Now, the reason this is so heavy is because it's got the lithium iron phosphate, or the LiFePO4 batteries in it, and they are heavy. It's also the safest battery you can buy. You don't have to worry about them catching fire. Also, because it has the LiFePO4 batteries, you're going to get 3,500 cycles out of this. So 3,500, this is going to last you 10 years or more. Now, at that point, you don't throw it away. That just means that you've used the top 20% of the batteries. You can still charge it to 80%, and it'll keep right on going for many years after. And it'll slowly come down. But it'll take you 10 years approximately, depending on your usage, to get this down to the 80% level. So it's a good value. Let's go over the components. Here's your power on and off switch here, real easy. Brightly lit. This lets you know that it's on. Over here is a 12 volt 25 amp outlet, and it uses an aviation plug. This plug over here is, you have to buy it doesn't come with this particular adapter, and the one from Bluetti is the 12 volt aviation plug on one side, and then it goes to an XT60 plug on the other, which is good for 60 amps. And what I see this plug here, because it's a 25 amps, what I see this one here being used for is to go from this power unit directly into the circuitry on your RV. 25 amps, regulated. Over here is two of the 5.5 millimeter 12 volt barrel connectors here. These are 3 amps each. Up here is the regular 12 volt accessory plug rated at 10 amps. I use this to plug in if I want to have more of these USB ports. I like to put an adapter in here so I can plug more things into that. These 12 volt outlets are all regulated at 13.4 volts. Over here is a PD 60 watt, USB-C, and then over here are your these are your USB-A ports over here. Now, none of these are fast charge ports, but there's 4 of them. If you do need to have a fast charging USB-A outlet, then you plug something into here and use that. That would work just fine. Over here are 6 AC outlets, 6 of them. And these are 100 to 120 volt, 2,000 watts. Like I say, these are 2,000 watts, and they'll handle between 2,000 and 2,500 watts for up to 2 minutes. If you hit 2,500 watts, it shuts it off immediately. Also, let's say you're running something over 2,000 watts, 2,100 watts maybe, 2,200 watts maybe. It'll run that for 2 minutes, and then it'll automatically, the battery management system will shut this down. And generally, you need to either let it sit and cool down, or you need to turn it off and turn it back on again as a safety feature. On the top, it has 2 wireless charging stations rated at 15 watts. Let me tell you about how it charges. It comes with a power brick. This one is rated at 58.8 volts, 8 amps. And it plugs in right here. I already ran this dead once, and charging it up took almost exactly 5 hours using the brick. Another way to charge it is from solar panels, and it does come with this adapter, which plugs in here with the aviation plug and goes to an XT60 on this end. To match that, it comes with the MC4 connectors to come off a solar panel, and this matches up with the XT60 there. So you come in directly from solar panels to the power unit this way. Now the one thing of this though is that this needs a minimum of 35 volts to start charging, and it's rated at 35 to I think 135 volts that you can put in here. But to get that, you're going to have at least 2 solar panels, and they've got to be hooked in series. You can't charge this off a single 100 watt solar panel. You need at least 2 hooked in series, and hooking them up in series is going to give you the necessary voltage to be able to charge this. It'll accept up to 700 watts of solar. So 500 watts over here of AC you can put in. You can put up to 700 watts of solar over here. And you can run these both together. You can have your AC coming into this side, and you can have your solar coming into this side at the same time and charge this up in just a couple of hours. Another way to charge it is from your car cigarette lighter. The thing about this is, off a 12 volt system, it would take like 16 hours to charge this, and off of a 24 volt system, probably about half of that. Of course, you can charge it from a generator, and that would be using the power brick, and it would charge just like it's charging in a house. You can also charge it through here, through this port here, this aviation plug, using lead acid battery. Bluetti does sell an adapter that has battery post clamps on one side and an XT60 plug on the other, and that would plug into here, which would plug into here for charging from lead acid batteries. This is the first power unit that I've gotten that has a touch screen display. Here's how you turn your DC on and off right here. Now it's on. Or touch it again and hit the off side. It's off. Here's your AC over here that controls these outlets on and off. And also, when you turn these on, you can look at what they're doing. Like if I click on this AC icon up here, it'll show how many volts it's got. It'll show how much current is going out, how many watts are going out, and here's your frequency down here. So you can keep track of exactly what's happening at any given time. Here's the back button up here. Same thing on the DC side. I'll turn it on. And here's the DC load showing here. Output voltage, output, and it shows the output power for every single one of these outlets here. Pretty cool. Up here is the adapter, the input adapter. Shows how much voltage is coming in, the current is coming in, and how many watts are coming in. Up here is for if you're charging from your car, it shows how many volts are coming in, the current, the input power, the generation energy in kilowatt hours, and it shows your carbon dioxide emissions. I'm not quite sure what that's referring to, but that may be some kind of estimate for what your car is putting out. Here's your settings. AC output frequency, 50 or 60 hertz, what DC input source you're using, and the eco mode is down here also. If you have the eco modes selected, what this will do is if it's sensing a low current output, it'll shut the power station off after 4 hours. So basically, you've got everything you could possibly want to know on this panel. Some people say, oh, they don't want just a battery segment monitor. They want the diagram. This shows the state of charge around the outside. It also lists it in the middle there. But you've got everything you need to know here and probably a whole lot more. So how much can you get out of this? Well, the manual says that it reserves 10% to protect the battery. So out of 2,000 watts, if you're using the DC side over here, you can get 1,800 watts out of it. out of 2,000 watts. If you're using the AC side, you're going to get less depending on how you're discharging it. And let's start testing this, and we'll see just exactly what we can get out of it. One thing I'll tell you is that the first thing I did, like I mentioned, was I charged it up and I plugged my refrigerator into it, and it ran that refrigerator for over 17 hours. And that refrigerator used 1,170 watt hours. How come I didn't get more than that out of it? I can explain that. The first thing I want to show you is, if you turn the AC on, you've turned on the inverter, which is a very large inverter. It's a 2,000 watt inverter, and it's like turning on any electrical appliance. That inverter uses power. Over a period of 2 hours, I used 5%. I went from 100% down to 95%. So it's using 2.5% of its power every hour just sitting here because it has to run that inverter. So what that means is you're going to get more efficiency out of this if you're using something that requires a lot of energy fast, like power tools or running a microwave oven. If you use something that uses a lot of power in a hurry, you're going to get more efficiency out of it, because running my refrigerator for 17 hours, the refrigerator cycles on and then it cycles off. Well, when the refrigerator's off, this inverter is still using power. So there is where my 650 watts, or approximately 600 and some odd watts of power went over that 17 hours, was to run the inverter. So basically you would get more efficiency out of this by trying to use as much of it as you can at one time. Plug everything into it that needs topped off, like your laptop, your cell phones, your drone batteries, your camera batteries, your power tool battery chargers. You've got so many places to plug that stuff in. Use it all and plug it all in at once and top them off. And that's how you get the most efficiency out of this power station. The other thing is, if you're not using the AC, turn it off. Because when the DC is on, you'll get the full usage out of it because you're not running that inverter. So what are some of the things we can run with this? Skill saw. Noisy old bugger. Saber saw. Saber saw and skill saw. Sounds like I need a new one. Heat gun. On the low setting, it's using 700 watts. On the high setting, it's using 1,360 watts. I kind of think this makes this ideal for an off-grid setting. So if you have off-grid property, or if you're boondocking a lot, this is handy to have along. This may be all you need hooked up to a pair of solar panels. Let's see if we can max this thing out though for a couple of minutes, and I'll show you how it protects itself, how it shuts down and protects itself if you go over 2,000 watts. Let me see what I can come up with for wattage. I don't want to run those power saws. Too noisy. Okay, 2160. About 2150, 2160, and the warning beep is sounding. Evidently the warning buzzer doesn't continue. It went off. 1 minute. Still drawing about 2,150 watts. It says it'll do this for 2 minutes. There's a minute and a half. There's 2 minutes. So it did it. It handled that. They're just shut off at 2 minutes and 6 seconds. And we'll let it cool down and reset itself. All right, yeah, it did just exactly as advertised. So it'll handle 2,000 watts continuously, and then if you go over 2,000 watts, it'll handle that for 2 minutes. If you hit 2500 watts, it shuts it off immediately. Okay, I've got some heating apparatus here that totals 420 watts. And I've got it set up so that I can record exactly how many watt hours we get out of this. So we'll come back here in a few hours and see just how it did. The cooling fan all this time has only been coming on very occasionally, every 10 or 15 minutes. It's very quiet. Okay, this just shut off. It ran for over 4 hours with a 420 watt load. I got 1,750 watt hours out of it for 87% efficiency, and that's pretty good in my book. That's the highest I've ever seen out of a power station. But compare that to the 1,170 watts I got when I was running the refrigerator. And that was because that was over a 17-hour period, and the inverter itself was using 2.5% per hour. So you figure this took over 4 hours, so that's over 10% went to the inverter, and then the battery generally holds back about 10% just to protect the BMS, just to protect the batteries inside this unit. And that explains the rest of it. The other 250 watts, there you go. Yeah, this did great. And by the way, it does allow pass-through charging. It's charging right now, the heater's on, it'll do that. The way that I personally intend to use this is in a power outage to run my refrigeration all night long, and then during the day to fire up my gas generator to both recharge this and continue to, and also to run my refrigeration here at home. And then I may use it in my trailer also. All I got to do is go up on the roof and change my solar panels from parallel to series, which only takes a couple of minutes. And then I can recharge this directly off the 400 watts of solar that I have on the roof of my cargo trailer. It'll work just fine for that. You know, this really shines in that respect. If you're building a cargo trailer conversion, camper conversion, or if you already have an RV or a van or something that you like to travel in, all you need is, for this, is 2 solar panels like I mentioned. You don't need a charge controller. You don't need a bank of batteries. You don't need to check electrolyte levels, anything like that. All you need is 2 solar panels and this, because your inverter is here and all your charge ports are here. This is all you would need. You're done. If you work on the road, this will run you that laptop of yours and your hotspot and everything, and run it all day long. You can go ahead and work all day and not worry about power. And it'll run your refrigeration in your RV at the same time. Let's take it camping. Well, this should give you some idea as to size. It's pretty good size. It's not the kind of thing you're going to lug in and out of your RV all the time. It does weigh 60 pounds. But it is small and smaller, and you can grab it and pick it up and lift it and take it outside if you want to. I'm thinking of just installing it right here on my RV, my trailer, and doing away with this battery, this house battery here, because I just won't need it. Another thing I won't need is I won't need that Renogy controller over there on the wall anymore, because the solar power will just go directly into this. Also, this I can like I mentioned earlier, I can hardwire this into the electrical system of the trailer with this 25 amp 12 volt plug over here. The plug that goes in there snaps in and stays in, so you don't have to worry about that coming undone while you're going down the road. I've got that ordered, should be here within about a week. When I install that over here, I'll show you how I did that. That'll be another video. Now there's 4 5 volt 3 amp USB ports here, and then this 60 watt over here. If you need to extend that and charge more, because this thing can charge a lot of stuff. I mean, you got 6 outlets over here, 110 outlets. If you need to charge more USB things, of course you can get a high-speed adapter like this to plug into the cigarette lighter port here, and you can use that. Currently, the price on Amazon for the AC200P is $15.99. If you go to the Bluetti website, bluettipower.com, and use the discount code RICK, AC200P, you can get $100 off of that. The adapter cord showed up, so I'm going to be plugging this directly into the power system of the trailer, so stay tuned for that video. I'll show you how I did the wiring for that. If you guys enjoyed the video, please like, share, and subscribe, and we'll see you around.